So not too long ago, I created an animation called Lost Dog, which had one of the most anger-inducing and complicated production processes ever. When I tell you the amount of frustration that I had when working on this project, you'd almost laugh because it feels like I'd be over-exaggerating. But this project in particular went through around 7 to 8 different corruptions, which is absolutely ridiculous. So I wanted to make a video here, which is all about Adobe Animate and corruption. This was what the project was made with, Adobe Animate. And I'm making this video for a few different reasons. One of them being to vent my frustrations because it made me so fucking angry. But also, I feel like that Adobe Animate Corruptions is not something that's talked about much, especially when I was doing research for it the first time it ever happened to me. I wanted to make a video helping you guys in some way, especially any Adobe animators out there, whether it be you're a person who's been working with the program for a long time, or you're just someone who's starting out. Because, oh gee, I wish I knew the information that I'm about to share to you guys when I was just starting out with Adobe Animate. So, first off, Adobe Animate and corruption. How can you tell if your Adobe Animate file is corrupted? Well, usually you can tell in two ways. The first one, you'll get an error screen like this, which comes up here. You may also get this other error. This is the second way that you can tell. If you get these two errors on any of your projects at all, you will never, ever get these files back. There is no secure 100% working way to get your Adobe Animate files back. I know it seems really ridiculous and absurd and discouraging, but it's the truth. So what can you do instead to prevent this from happening? Back up your files. Whenever you're worried about an Adobe Animate file potentially crashing, back it up. Just keep backing it up constantly, because there will always be some kind of chance that your Adobe Animate file will corrupt, especially if you're working with a big project like I was. When I started working on Lost Dog, I didn't think that I would be going through this kind of hell, but alas, I did, which means that you may be starting off a project thinking that, oh, this totally couldn't happen to me, but this can happen to anyone, which is why you need to back up your files all the time. And also, just a side note, don't rely on the recovery files as your backup, because if you put all of your eggs in the recovery basket, you will lose your project as well. Because what happens, at least in my theory, the recovery file saves to your latest version of your project file when it crashes. So if your project file gets corrupted, the recovery file will also get corrupted. If you back up your files consistently, the only thing that you're going to have to worry about is the occasional loss of progress. There's also a third error you can counter, and I want to let you guys know what it is. You may come up with this error that says something along the lines of your document failed to load, but the project file still comes up. If that is the case, your project is safe, but all that was destroyed was the symbols. So if you are backing up your files regularly, all you'll have to do is just import the symbols back in, as well as images too. Images may break. All you got to do is put the symbols and images back then from a previous version of your project, and you should be fine. All you'll get is a lot of annoyance at the fact that you've lost a little bit of your progress. I want to tell you guys my personal experience of the first time I ever had an Adobe Animate file corrupt on me. I was working on Soundine and Jitwub's Shoes. It was a school film for year 12. I had just finished, or nearly finished, scenes 3 and 4, but at some point I ended up restarting my computer, and when I opened up the 2 scene files, they were corrupted. They kept saying an error has occurred. And I remembered the amount of hopelessness and anger I was feeling going onto the internet and looking for solutions, only to find that nothing worked. I'm so grateful for whatever forces out there in the world communicated to me to render out the project before I came back to complete it. Saved my bum. And I wasn't backing up my files at the time, so if not for those 2 render saves, I would have gone straight back to the storyboards. That is the kind of high stakes project loss you're dealing with Adobe Animate. And I think personally, it's fucking ridiculous. I cannot believe that Adobe Animate does not have a proper 100% working backup autosave feature. It shouldn't be just up to the user to save the project from corrupting, because even when you back up your files, I'm sorry to say, but there's still a chance of those backup files corrupting. I'm flashing it on the screen now, but I'm opening some of my files here for Lost Dog, and they are the backup files, and even some of those are corrupted as well. I just think personally it's ridiculous that Adobe Animate doesn't have something like this already installed within its programming, and I'm surprised that there's not enough people talking about it. Maybe it doesn't happen often. Maybe it's because I'm using Adobe Animate 2022 and maybe this was something that was corrected later. But if we're here in 2025 and it's something that's still happening and they haven't fixed this, oh my god, what are we doing here, Adobe? What are we doing? So I'm making this video now to raise awareness and to let you guys know of what to do in the case of corruption, because there's nothing you can do except for backing up the files, and I wish that this was something I knew, and I want to spread this video around to people who are using Adobe Animate and haven't yet had this problem but may in the future. Keep this in mind. Once again, you will never ever get your files back if you ever get these two errors. So please, I beg of you, back up your files consistently. Make that a habit if you're using Adobe Animate, because there is no fallback for you. It all relies on you, the user of the program. Recovery files won't help you, and there are no temporary files that are generated by Adobe Animate. I think that's going to do it for this video. I just wanted to let people out there know that there's no proper way to get your Adobe Animate files back, but if there is, that's not the WinRAR thing, because that doesn't 100% work. Please let me know. Please let me know if there's any type of other solutions that are 100% working and are guaranteed to get your files back, because it's ridiculous, it's stupid, it's fucked up that there's no kind of backup feature here at all for Adobe Animate, so I'm letting you guys know. Thank you guys so much for watching this state of address type video, and I hope this helped in some way. Share it around to all of the Adobe animators out there. Thank you guys so much. This has been Phoenix James. More videos coming soon. See you guys.
Listen.